we were in Rochester, New York, and you had exited from downstage and were running down the hall, and then you got to my table and very proudly put your leg on top of my table, and you go, I forget what you said.
I go, I don't know what I said, but I just was like, "Who get to work?" Okay, all right. So now we're going to jump into this because being on tour and the funny what is it wardrobe malfunction applies to you more than anyone, and so
honestly, the biggest wardrobe malfunction is pants rips. And I'm not just saying that because of the story I reminded you of.
Oh, I knew we were going to talk about this. I knew it.
No, I wasn't actually. But no, really, like, actually, you weren't even the worst. Like, because, those pants were tight on you. Like, they were tight. Like, and we did what we could. But sometimes there's only so much you could do to contain.
Yeah.
So, but the worst, because sometimes it's just the photos, but the person who there's a ringmaster who actually outbeat you in the amount of times they ripped their pants. But it was kind of the same. It was the same situation as the pants were just, the fabric was just not forgiving, and when you're running around, you ran around more than anybody.
Yeah.
You're running around, specifically as a ringmaster, you're having to go from place to place, and you're having to do quick changes and sprints. It's not forgiving to have to run. There was so I'm going to call him out. David Shipman was the worst.
I'm going to call him out. Okay, so no, he was the guy.
It's funny because I have multiple photos of me fixing his pants because Claudia would just go and take pictures. Claudia. Yeah. As I was fixing his pants, which have not seen social media and will not see so of our parts. But there was one time we were in Rosemont, and he ripped his pants really, like, it was a good solid 8 inches of rippage or something in the back of his pants, and he had to make announcements from back on that landing where our wardrobe cases were, because even with stitching them up as fast as I could, it still took so long because of how large the rip was, that I had to he had to make a couple of announcements. And so back in the air, we had people monitoring the air and be like, shut up, telling all the boys in men costume to shut up, because
don't talk, he's live.
Right, exactly. And he doesn't have a double pair of pants. It's not like I could just say strip and go, no. So he would rip his pants. He would always rip his pants. In fact, it was really funny too, because the pants were made a little on the smaller side, and so we made because when you're running around, we had to add a gusset to his pants, so it just gave him a little extra stretch in the crotch area. And one time he decided that he was gonna make fun of my assistant during a quick change. He was gonna play insulter Laura, Laura, and insult her. And so she came back so mad, and I'm like, well, now we take the gusset out. So we stitched up the gusset.
Wait a second, you stitched it up on purpose.
You could still wear them. It did not impede the show. It just impeded his comfort level. You stitched it up.
That's such a good story. You did that.
Yeah, and
don't mess with wardrobe. Do not wardrobe.
Right outside of his door that week, we were in Hershey. I remember we were in Hershey, Pennsylvania, and he came. He was changing, and he poked his head out the door. He's like, "Why are my pants, Rebecca? My pants tight. I don't know whether they're tight." I looked at him. I'm like, "Did you mess with wardrobe?" And he was like, "What do you mean?" I was like, "Did you mess with wardrobe at all?" He's like, he got finished getting dressed, and he ran out to do the thing. He comes back, and he's like, "I see what you did." And I was like, "Yeah, I see what you did. You gonna apologize?" He's like, "Maybe not, maybe so." And I was like, "Well, it's gonna stay that way until you do."
Oh my gosh, that's so good. That's so good. I love that.
Because there are things that you gotta brag on each other.
Yeah, of course, and the funny, and it's all in good fun. I mean, when you're working with some people that closely on a tour, you're gonna do things like that. I mean, I don't know if you remember the pranks that it would be me and Tweety, and the Misers would always do to each other, and just like little things. And that makes tour life fun. I mean, especially on 3-show days and things like that.
Yeah. Oh, actually,
That's
so
hilarious though. I love that.
Another good one is talking about the Misers, Brian Miser. So during Fully Charged, that tour, he had to do a very fast school. Like this quick change was under a minute, and he had to the whole he maybe had like 3 minutes in total, and it was during a gag. He had to run from wherever he was, change, and then run to the opposite area of the stage to enter. So I think he run from downstage and then change, and then enter in from the portal.
Yeah.
And so he was always, and on Saturdays he would go on vocal rest, so he wouldn't talk. He didn't do any excess talking because it just helped his voice. Whatever whatever helps you to be a better performer.
Right.
Do what you gotta do. So Brian Miser would love to try to get him to talk or whatnot. And so this one time, I did this quick change. So this one time, I was my first quick change, and Brian comes in, he strips down to his underwear, and he goes hide in the closet. And so Brian Crawford Scott came in to do his quick change, came in running like he always does. And Brian Miser, now granted, Brian and I had talked about this before, Brian jumps out of the closet and jumps on his back. He lost it. I mean, he was on the ground crying, laughing while putting on his boots, because he still had to have time to change. And luckily we had the quick change down well enough that we got him still changed out. It was still fine, But man, that was the best Saturday ever. So the next show, because I think that was during the first show. So during the second show, he's like watching his back. He like comes in and he does the thing and he looks at me, and I was like, nope, he's not in here.
That reminded me. I forgot that when you're talking to somebody that you're on tour with, and all of a sudden you start talking, these memories pops into my mind. So I did this thing. Oh my gosh, we did to Claudia. I did to Claudia for sure. So Claudia would come in after every show and grab my laundry and all that, right? And my ringmaster jacket it was tails. It was like had the cape kind of aspect to it. And so the cape aspect went all the way down to like my knees, right? And then I had boots, and my boots were up to my knees. And I don't know how I discovered this, but I discovered that if I had my boots on and my jacket, and just my boots and my jacket, if you're looking at me from the back, it looks like I'm fully dressed.
Yeah. I don't know.
But if I turn around, I'm only in my underwear.
Yeah.
So I remember I'd put the boots on, I'd put my jacket on, and I'd like be waiting. Someone came in. And so when they come in, they're talking to me. I'm like, yeah. They don't think anything because I'm dressed. I'm ready to go. And then at like whatever point, I just turn around, and Claudia just like, ah! And like I did it to Tweety one time, and he was like, ah! Like it was so funny. And I mean, it was just like hilarious, all good fun, and I'm just laughing. And everybody listening to this is like, what goes on over there? Oh, okay. So that one to me stands out between us. And then the other one, we already teased it out at the beginning. And the show, it was going to be amazing until my pants ripped in the middle of the show, and I had it was right. I'm not forgetting. It was my left thigh, like here, all the way. And it was just
you took so much pride, because you'd always, for anybody who doesn't know, he'd always yell out my name throughout the hallway at any point in time during the show. Like I knew Alex was coming, because it would just be Rebecca. There it is.
Oh, because
so we were in Rochester. New York. And you had exited from downstage and were running down the hall, and then you got to my table and very proudly put your leg on top of my table, and you go, I forget what you said.
I go, I don't know what I said, but I just was like, whew, Get to work.
And then I was like, oh, great. So I'm like stitching you up, like, everything's normal, like normal thing.
But see, here's the thing though, is that right? Like I still have about like 3 or 4 minutes for my next entrance. So it's not like there's time in these live show situations. There's not time to like, all right, let me swap out pants. It's that you're sewing me up while I'm wearing them as the show's going on a time limit so I can make my next entrance. And I mean, that's high pressure in these live situations. But
you started making little catty comments because I mean, why wouldn't you? Let's be honest. Like
so you're down there sewing in my crotch, essentially.
Yeah. And I remember one of us said something. I think I said something along the line of like, "Well, good thing there's not any cameras around." And here, like literally, like on cue, Lance Brown comes around because he's doing an end of the year video, and there it is.
But he doesn't notice. He turns around with the camera and he goes, "Hey, Alex."
And then you and I think just start bursting out laughing.
This is the end of the year video. Do you have anything you want to say? And it was like here, and I remember I looked at you and you're like this, sewing up, and you're like, and I just didn't miss a beat. And I was like, standing with my leg, and your face is like in my thigh. And I go, well, as you can see, they take care of me very well here at Ringling Brothers. And he's like, oh my God.
And then, do you remember he opened up the end of the video with that video?
That was so fun. Oh my goodness. Good times. I love that one. Those are my favorite stories. I mean those two, but that one with the and the tear in the pants and him coming off just so,
oh my gosh,
perfectly on cue.
Like it was on cue. Like it was like it couldn't have been planned any better.
No, absolutely.
It really. Oh goodness. But actually one of my okay, so obviously you didn't break your costume a lot on that show.
Yeah, no, I didn't.
Tweety broke his costume a lot. He'd always come over and be like, I broke it. And I'd look at him and be like, were you at least funny? And he's like, yeah. I'm like, okay. But I mean, I still have a couple of those buttons from his jacket. Because we had like a whole stack of them because he always loses the button. But no, one of my favorite memories walking to y'all's dressing room was when Tweety was trying to do a silk act on the pipe and drape. I think he was also trying to do a high wire act at one point in time. And for those who don't know, pipe and drape is literally what it sounds like. It's 2 pieces of pipe, and there's a piece of pipe here that hangs a drape. You see like convention hall. Actually, so like kind of like a little stand.
And it's not like it's meant to just hold a curtain.
Yeah, no, it's not meant to hold the weight of a full-grown Scottish man. That's what I think of every time I think about y'all's dressing room. And it only happened once, but it only had to happen once.
Yeah, but see, he did that one, and then I did a toe hang off of it once.
Yes.
I'm like, I've seen my sister do this. And so I kind of climbed up it, and I'm like putting my toes, and I'm like upside down. And we sent the photos. Well, look at this. And you see it, you go, you're doing what in there? I'm like, oh, nothing.
I was concerned for your safety, Alex.
I kind of wish, and I really do, I kind of wish that social media had such a presence back then as it did now, because, oh my gosh, it would have been so much more fun.